What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Games Adjuster Ethan Rodriguez, and today we are giving our first annual Top X Games of all time. This year we're going to do the top 40 games of all time, in my opinion. And so why top 40? I know a lot of content creators will do like a top 50, maybe even a top 100 plus. For me, although I like to think I'm a pretty seasoned gamer when it comes to understanding games, gaining that almost encyclopedic knowledge of mechanisms and things of that nature, publishers, designers, etc. I'm still relatively new as far as playing games. So I've only been playing games for about 6 years or so. I've played probably about 450 to 500 games maybe, roughly, including expansions and everything, probably a little more than that. But it's a lot of repeat plays, right? Because I have to buy my own games or play them through a friend or family member. I don't have boxes of games coming in every week, unfortunately. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And so of those games, I've taken about the top 10%, which happens to be all 9s and 10s for me. These are the games I really want to share with you and really talk passionately about. Wanted to make sure I didn't have anything that I was lukewarm on, that would maybe be like a top 100. So top 40 is where it landed this year. Hopefully next year it'll be a top 50 or more than that, depending on what happens this year and what we can afford to buy and what we get the pleasure of playing. But as it stands, we're going to do the top 40 this year, and I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start with the top 40 through 31. Here we go with our number 40. So number 40, I actually don't have. So number 40 is a game that my brother has, and we really enjoy playing it, and it is Sushi Go Party. So Sushi Go Party, published by Gamewright, is a drafting game. Very simple, easy to play drafting game where you basically, in Sushi Go Party, very much like Sushi Go, you will get a bunch of different sushi cards, and you'll put those all on a deck, and then you'll pass them out, and you'll draft a certain amount of them based on the number of players until you've gotten your final hand, and then you'll score. I love Sushi Go Party more than Sushi Go because of the variety. In Sushi Go Party, they have in-game or in the rulebook a bunch of different setups that you can use, and that really change the game. Some focus more on majorities, some focus just on multiplying the points based on the different sushi you draft. Some will also focus maybe on in-game or long-term scoring, and so it's a lot of fun. It's very simple, super adorable artwork with all these little sushi with faces and things like that. So if you're looking for a fun drafting game that's good for the family, that's a great one to get, and that's Sushi Go Party by Gamewright. Moving on. So my number 39 I do have, and that is going to be Sagrada, and this is published by Floodgate Games. And so Sagrada is a little more thinky of a game than Sushi Go. This is a puzzle type game, very much like a role player. I've not played that one. I'm very interested in trying it, but this is the one I have played. And so in Sagrada, what you'll be doing is rolling a pool of dice, and that pool of dice will change based on the number of players, and then you'll be drafting them and inserting them into these. Here, I'll show you the back here. You'll insert those into this little section here, which has a different, basically, templates that will have to match based on colors or number requirements, things like that. And there's some rules about placing dice as far as adjacency, and colors can't touch other colors, same number can't touch other numbers. And so at the beginning of the game, it's pretty easy to just kind of focus on the things you want. You kind of build from the outside in, starting anywhere you want and then building adjacent from there, orthogonally or diagonally. But as the game goes on, it gets really tough. You have to consider, what is my end-game goal? What dice color am I going for? Are there any tools out there that will allow me to break the rules and maybe manipulate these dice in such a way that I can get the most points and also place it legally, and that way I don't have any empty spaces or empty panes. And so it's a really almost relaxing game. It's just, you roll the dice, and it's a little tense in what they draft the thing you want, but you're just kind of building your own puzzle, doing your own thing, trying to do the best you can and ultimately get the best score. And so I will say, my wife pretty much beats me every time on this one. And I like to think I'm a pretty good gamer, but this is just one that she's got a knack for. And so I really enjoy playing it, even though I lose. You know, I really just love the puzzle part of it. So that's my 39, Sagrada. Definitely check it out if you are into puzzle games. All right. So moving right along, number 38 is an abstract game in the Dice Tower Essentials line, and that is Onitama. And so Onitama is probably one of the first games, designer games that I had purchased. Not the first one, but it's one of the first few. And I'd gotten it because I just kind of discovered the Dice Tower, which I love to watch. And it was one of their essential games as part of that essential line published by Arcane Wonders. It was at my friendly local game store, relatively cheap. I think like 25 bucks maybe, somewhere around there. And so I checked it out, purchased it, and absolutely loved it. It's an abstract game, very simple. You only have 5 pieces. And what I love about it is the game changes every game because you use 5 cards out of this huge deck. And I've got both of the expansions in here, which is the Way of the Wind and then Sensei's Path. And so that adds even more variety, more cards. And basically these cards, and you can almost kind of see it here, dictate how your pieces move. And so in this example, the dragon piece says that your player can either move to diagonal left, diagonal right, or up and over one to either direction. And so that's just one card. And what I love about this game too is after you move your piece, you are giving the card that you use to your opponent. And so you're trying to make sure that you are, one, trying to meet an in-game condition, which is to either A, take out the opposing player's master. Every player has 4 regular pawns and then 1 master. Or B, you can just take your master and place it into the temple space of the other team, and then you'll just win. So it's the way of the stream or the way of the stone. And the way of the stone is that, taking them out just like chess. And so if you're a chess fan or an abstract fan, you're going to love this. It's very simple, very quick. You can play several games, best 2 out of 3 kind of thing, pretty quickly, maybe 30 minutes or so. You could probably get 2 games in. And it's just a lot of fun. It's so elegant. It's so beautiful too. It's got this neoprene mat. These cards are very nice. The pieces, these little pawns here, they have nice molds with the students and the master. And yeah, I mean, it's just a beautifully designed game. Even the box, it's this magnetic clasping box. So the only weird part about it is the shape, maybe. It's not the most ideal when it's on your shelf, but other than that, I mean, this is a really great game. And so I highly recommend it. Onitama, which is my 38. And so here we go. Now I have another game on my list here at 37 that is not in my personal collection. So this is another one that my brother has, and it is called Lovecraft Letter. And I believe that's published by AEG. And so Lovecraft Letter is one of the Love Letter, spin-offs, basically. You've got Love Letter and the Tempest series, I think it's called. You've got Batman Love Letter, Hobbit Love Letter, all kinds of different versions. Lovecraft Letter is the only one I've played, and just in my looking at all the rest of them, I haven't played them yet, but it's probably the best one. So first of all, Lovecraft Letter, it comes in this really nice, similar to Onitama, this magnetic clasp box. And it's a really awesome box. It looks like a book, like a H.P. Lovecraft book. And then in the box is a bunch of very nice poker chip pieces that are nice, good weight. There's these cards that are like a pretty good size, and they even come with sleeves. And so I know Love Letter starts this genre of kind of like the micro game there with the small bag and all the cards fit in it. And that's totally cool, and I can see why it was so revolutionary when it came out. But Lovecraft Letter just does it better, in my opinion. And plus, it's a really fun theme. It's not, this royalty situation. It's more the Cthulhu, and you've got winning with sanity versus winning with madness. You only need to win 2 rounds of hands with sanity, but you'll need to win 3 with madness. And then there's kind of a push your luck thing. If you choose to use the madness before you take your turn, you'll have to draw more cards to see if you go insane and you're out of the round. And it's just a ton of fun. It's kind of a beer and pretzels kind of game where, at the end of the night, you're looking for something easy to do, or maybe to start the night, just a quick filler to get the juices flowing. And, you can just shuffle up the deck, take the card out, deal everybody a card, draw a card, play a card. Super simple, but a lot of fun. It's one that most of the time you're not a big fan of player elimination, and this game you could literally be eliminated before you even take a turn, but it's totally fine because you just play the next hand and you enjoy the experience just laughing. So I really enjoy Lovecraft Letter, and that's why it's my number 37, and that's published by AEG, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. So moving on. Next game I do have, and so this is the number 36 here, which is the best of the bottom 5, and that is Century Golem Edition. Now, Century Golem Edition is a super simple engine building game. And so you'll start the game with a hand of 2 cards. You'll have one card that upgrades your gems. I think it's yellow to green, green to blue, blue to pink, magenta, reddish. And the other card is just going to give you 2 yellow crystals. And so from there, it's really up to you how you build your simple crystal churning engine to get points. And these point cards are basically just different requirements and combinations of gems that you'll need to get the points. And so, it's a very simple game, a very quick game, but it's very tense too, because when you are looking at the display of cards there that is available to you, you kind of have to weigh the cost of, well, I really want to accomplish this point card, but on the other hand, I really want to get that card for my engine in the future because I think in the long run it's going to pay benefits for me or pay dividends. Or, I really need to get that particular card to really help my engine going, but I have to spend gems to pass up the cards I don't want and get the one I do. And so there's a lot of tense decisions and a lot of almost racing to these point cards because you can see what other people's engines look like and what they've been developing and what they have in their caravan of like 10 gems that you can hold. And so you have to be cognizant of, okay, they look like they're about to get that one. I need to switch gears. I'm not going to get this point card. That's cool. I maybe have the luxury of working on my engine a little bit, focusing on a higher point card, or maybe one that's about to move off the, well, it doesn't remove off the list, but one that's at the end of the list because you'll get more points with those little silver and copper coins. And so for being such a simple game, it's a lot of fun and it's very intense. And it on the surface with this cute Century Golem artwork and these awesome crystals, it seems like it'd be such an easy family-like game, but it's pretty cutthroat. It can be very tense, and if someone takes that one card you were just working on and you get nothing out of it, it's like, ugh. So I really enjoy it. I didn't think I would, but I was pleasantly surprised. And definitely Golem Edition over Spice Road. They're the same exact game. I can see where some people might just like the cubes and the spices and maybe not all the colors, but the production's really awesome. I know the other one comes with bowls, but this comes with this like diamond or gem shaped container that everything comes in that pulls apart into 4 pieces and all the gems go in. And there's a mat you can get separately, but you don't really need that. So production's really good. Rules are very simple. It's like 1 page front and back, but the gameplay is awesome. So highly recommend it, Century Golem Edition, and that is my number 36. All right, so number 35 is actually in this box. It's in this briefcase box here. And so this is something I've had for, I don't know, 20 years probably. And it's just one of those everything, pickup sticks, all kinds of things, checkers, whatever. But what I'm showing you this for is this board and these pieces, and that is chess. Now, I've kind of always loved playing chess. I never really had anybody to play it with, and so I never really got to play it that much growing up, but I know every time I did play it, I really, really enjoyed it. And what I love about it, it's so elegant. And, you see just recently Queen's Gambit on Netflix, kind of reinvigorating the chess crowd a little bit and bringing obviously a lot of drama and exaggerations, but really almost emphasizing how, awesome the game is, and that it's so elegant and it's so simple as far as the rule set, but it's deceptively, simple. It's because there's not a lot of rules to master. It's the strategy and the tactics, the opening, the end game, the middle game. And so, after watching that recently and then, obviously playing more games like, Onitama, like I showed you earlier, kind of like a chess-like game. I brought my board out again. I'm looking to hopefully get a really nice set so we can have that as almost like a table piece, but I've thoroughly enjoyed playing chess lately. I even downloaded an app and subscribed to like a yearly $50 subscription or so just to do the puzzles. And I'm just on my free time, if I'm, got a couple minutes, I'm waiting in line somewhere or I'm waiting on food or something, I will just open my chess app and I'll play a handful of puzzles and try to increase my rating. So I've really grown to enjoy chess. It's something I can play solo with just those puzzles. I can play with my wife over the phone or play it with these pieces. Hopefully I'll get a really nice board to play that too when people come over, just as a talking piece, maybe if it's a really, really nice piece or set with wooden pieces or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty popular and it's got all these competitions and stuff for a reason. I mean, it's a very well designed game. And I know you don't think of it as like a gamer's game in modern board gaming, but it's still got its place. It still needs to be in that conversation as, if not the best, one of the best abstract games of all time. And so I don't think anybody's disputing that. I'm probably not, saying anything that's not already known, but you just don't think of it as a, quote unquote gamer. So just, giving my spiel on chess, and that's why I love it. So I don't know who the designer is of chess. If you guys know, let me know. But that is my number 35. All right, so number 34 is a gamery game in the traditional sense, almost a war game, and that is Root. And so this is published by Leader Games. This is a game that I got immediately when it came out. So I don't know if it started on Kickstarter. I know they've gone to Kickstarter since, but I read about it. I heard it was really awesome. This asymmetric game, follow-up to the game they had before, which was called Vast, and very similar, where there was asymmetric players, and you had the cave versus the dragon versus the knight versus like the thief. And so this was an evolution of that, but also it was a coin game. And I had played one coin game before that, a Distant Plain, which is based on the Afghanistan war. And it was kind of a little too complex, I think, for where I was as a gamer. And we didn't really have a good grasp as a group on the rule set, so that kind of flopped. But I liked that idea, this counterinsurgency, that's what coin is, where, you are almost, I don't know, it's almost like a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. This is better than this, but this beats this, and this kind of beats that. And you're trying to, infiltrate in different ways and achieve your victories in different methods. And it's just a very intriguing way to play a game. And so with Root, you've got this counterinsurgency idea with this cuddly creature, woodland creature overlay. And it's a lot more inviting than, of course, an Afghanistan war, which is, very real and still kind of recent, and, two, kind of polarizing. And so, this just does it right, and it plays well. I mean, the rules are traditional rules like in a war game. It's got the numbers and things like that you need to reference, but they're never that hard to figure out. I mean, once you get the core concepts down, you're able to play each faction, and each faction is wildly different. In the base game, you've got the Marquis de Cat that start all over the board except for one corner of it and really rule the land, and they're pretty simple to work because they just kind of area control and get things that way and get their points. You've got the Erie, which have this programming feature when they start on one little corner of the board, but they can really get, explode out of that corner as long as they don't go into turmoil by keeping their engine going with this action programming. You've got the Woodland Alliance, which is like this insurgency force that kind of pops up out of nowhere and causes a lot of mayhem with sabotaging things and things of that nature. And then you've got the Vagabond, which is just roaming around, the only one who can go into the forest clearings, or not the clearings, but the actual forest. Not really on anybody's team. He's just doing his own thing and trying to get the most points for himself. And that's just the base four. And so each of those plays wildly different. Plus, you've got 4 other factions, which I all have in this box. I've actually condensed my set of Root, which is everything except for the most recent Kickstarter, into 2 boxes. And so this box has all of the boards, which is the regular board, and then the new board, the lake, and then the mines. And then it's got, in the other box, I've got all the other factions. And there's the moles, and there's the river folk, the lizard folk. There's just a ton of stuff for Root, and they keep going. So I don't know that I really needed it, the newest Kickstarter, but I kind of had to do it because I'm already this far in. So I'm excited for when that comes. I really enjoy playing Root. It's a war game with a more inviting theme. It's easier to get to the table than a traditional war game, which I do love. I do love my war rooms and things of that nature, but Root is smaller scale than that, and again, more accessible. So that's Root, and that is my number 34 by Leader Games. Okay, so 33 is, talk about a dichotomy of games here. This is a very different game, and this is Fox in the Forest. And so Fox in the Forest by Renegade Games is a 2-player only trick-taking game, which sounds like it shouldn't work because most of the time trick-taking games, you kind of play with a larger group than that, maybe 3 or 4. And yet this one is really awesome. It's simple to play. You only have 3 suits. You pick a trump at the beginning of the game, just randomly off the deck. You have 11 cards of each suit, so 33 cards. And then only the odds have special powers. And so what's interesting about this game, in addition to just being simple, is 1, it's beautiful, but 2, how you get your points is on a scale of being selfless or being too greedy. And so if you win 0 to 3 tricks based on the way you manipulate your cards and manipulate your opponent to play the things that you want them to play, you can get 6 points. But after that, if you win 4 tricks, then you're only going to get 1 point, and then 5 tricks you might get 2, and 6, 3, and then 7 and 9 you might get 4 points or something like that. And so you can win a lot of tricks and still get points, but there's a threshold in which if you get too many, if you win, I think it's 11 to 13 tricks, you get 0 points. So you're trying to balance, okay, when I look at my hand, what is my goal now? Am I in a position where I'm probably going to win the majority of hands, so I need to go for that 7 to 9 sweet spot? Or is it, my hand is terrible, this is good because I can just lose everything, make sure my opponent gets nothing, and I get 6 points for having 0 to 3 tricks. And so that kind of manipulation of the cards, and with the special powers too, knowing when to change the trump suit, knowing when to switch out something in your hand with something from the deck randomly, knowing when to play your 7. The 7 by itself just gives you a point. It's only a 21-point game, so over 2 or 3 hands you might end the game. And so definitely 2 or 3 hands. So you need to know how to do that, and it's even though it's simple, it's a lot of skill, like most trick-taking games are. I've not really ever played spades and hearts in those games, but I know that it's that same vibe where once you see your hand, you have to know, is this a good hand or is it not? And if it's not a good hand, how can I make it good by manipulating or losing tricks if I need to? Or if it's a great hand, how do I make sure that I keep winning the tricks I need to win, but not too many, because if I win too many, I get nothing. So Fox in the Forest, great 2-player only game, super quick, and I love playing it with my wife. So that's Fox in the Forest, Renegade Game Studios, and that's my number 33. All right, so we got 2 more left for this top 10, and the next one is a very big game, but an older game, and that is Wallenstein. And so Wallenstein, I'll be careful not to tilt it too much, but Wallenstein, I actually got it in a sale off of Facebook. So my wife's on Facebook, and there was this board gaming posting in my area where people were just getting rid of games, and this was on there for like 15 bucks. And so in the posting it said it was the Wallenstein big box edition. This is technically not, it's like the 2nd edition, but a little disappointed in that, but for 15 bucks it was worth a shot. So I did some reviews, or read some reviews, watched some videos, decided to pull the trigger on it, and I'm really glad I did. So Wallenstein is a pretty simple area control game. It's the original implementation of this system by Queen Games, and then they've redone it into Shogun and then also Immortals. And Shogun's like a feudal Japanese theme. Immortals is more like a light, dark fantasy theme. This is based on like I think Germany, which is, you know, just like more of a Euro-y theme, but it's still fine. If I had my choice, maybe I might go with the Immortals. I didn't really know that was out there until I already got this, but again, this was on sale for 15 bucks. So bought it off the person, got home to play it, and I really enjoyed it. And so in Wallenstein, you set up the game based with a number of armies, and they're just cubes. It's an older game, so if you're looking for minis and things like that, you're not going to get that here. But what it has is a lot of almost, you know, suspense basically. So you set up your armies, and you're just trying to build these different building types to get the most points. And this board is basically divided into different colored regions, and so certain counties within that region can hold certain types of buildings or a certain amount of buildings, so they become more valuable. Um, and you have to manipulate your cubes around to these different areas to claim the territory for them and then be able to build on them. But what's interesting is at the beginning of the game, or every round, you're going to shuffle like 10 cards, and you're going to deal 5 of them face up, 5 of them face down. And these are the actions you can take during that round. And so you have all these actions on your board, and you're using the territories you control, and you're assigning those territories to those actions. So the 5 face up, they're going to go in that order, and then the 5 face down are going to go in that order. So although you know the order of the first 5, and you're planning to do certain things, I need to move here, I need to build here, I need to get this money from this land, I need to get this wheat from this land. You know, you can plan the first 5, but the last 5, you're hoping it goes your way. And so, you know, everybody's planning their actions, and they start executing those actions, and, you know, maybe they save their money for, instead of, you know, getting the money in the first round, they're going to do it in the second half of the face down cards, but the card didn't come out in the right order. So before they got a chance to do it, they got attacked, and they lost that territory. So there's a lot of, again, suspense in that you don't know what's going to happen yet. And then on top of all that, and this is like the pièce de résistance, you know, you've got this cube tower that is totally random too. So there's no dice rolls in combat. There's no card flipping. At the beginning of every round, you'll be grabbing an action, so you might have a plus, you know, 1 defense or plus 1 attack. But after that, when your army is being attacked by another army, you'll grab all the cubes there. You'll grab all the other army's cubes, put them all in your hand, throw them in a cube tower, and hope that you get the most pieces that come out. And in that cube tower, it's already going to be seeded with a bunch of neutral pieces or peasants and things like that that will fight for different armies depending on the situation. So, you know, it's such a joy to not, one, have that suspense of, am I going to get to do what I need to do? But then 2, okay, I've got 5 cubes there too. I know he lost a previous fight where he threw like 5 cubes in, but only 1 came in. So even though I've got 5-2, there's still a chance I might lose this, because this cube tower has memory. It's got those cubes still in there. So you can lose horribly early and then come back and win with 1 guy to 6 maybe, because of all the cubes you still have in there. And so that suspense is just amazing. It's so fun to just plan and hope your plans go right, but maybe they don't. And it's only, I think, played over 2 years and 4 rounds, maybe. I have to remember, but it's been a while since I played it. I need to play it again. It's kind of a hard sell because, again, it is kind of a drab theme. It's just, you know, German families, I believe, or armies, and you know, some of the places are kind of hard to pronounce if you don't speak German. So whereas a, you know, Japanese or Immortals theme might be a little cooler, but still, the game mechanisms are awesome. And so I really enjoy it. Again, that's my number 33, and that is Wallenstein. And here on the back, briefly show you the board, and then here you've got the cube tower. So there you go. All right, now 30. Was that my 32? Oh, that was my 32. I'm sorry, that was 32. So we've got my number 31 now, the last one for this list. That is Santorini. So there's been 3 abstract games on this list. There will be at least 1 more coming up. But this is a very awesome game. And so Santorini is another one when I first got into the hobby that I was very interested in getting. When it first came out, it was just mind-blowing to see this 3D abstract game where you've got this island board that everything sits on. In the original printing, there was actually like an ocean board too. This one does not have it. It's a Spin Master version that's readily available in like Target and things like that. But this didn't have that. But beyond that, it still has that 3D island. And then you put, this land board on top of the island. And then you put your pieces on there. And there's 2 pieces per player. It says 2 to 3 player, basically a 2-player game. And so on your turn, you're going to simply move and build. That's it. And you're trying to build such that your guy can jump on top of 3 buildings and reach the top level, and you win the game before that top level gets capped, or before the other team, does it sooner. And so it's very simple, but it's really awesome in the way that this, construction starts happening. You start with nothing, just this island and a flat board and your minis. And then, a few moves into the game, you've started building, this town of Santorini, just like you see, if you look online at, Santorini, Greece, these beautiful white buildings with the blue blue domes. And it's just amazing table presence when you see that out there and you're building it in a very, tactical game. You've got to consider, okay, my opponent's going over here. They kind of cornered themselves off over here. I need to go make sure I'm close enough so that when they build that 3rd level, I can go and cap it and they can't jump on it. Meanwhile, still working on what I'm working on, building, with my 2 pieces to make sure that I'm in a position where I can build the next step, jump above it with my other person, build the next step after that, and jump them, and make sure that I'm blocking the other person off either by building, buildings high enough that they can't move through or get past, or maybe even cornering them off and getting them in a situation to get stuck, something like that, so that I can win. And that's all the base game. And that's what's even more amazing about this game, is in the base game, you have heroes and you have god powers. And these god powers are really powerful. They change the game tremendously. And instead of, building once and then moving, you can maybe, jump across the board and then build, or you can jump up 2 levels maybe. I'm not sure if that's an actual power, but they're just wacky like that. The hero powers are one-time uses, but they're, again, very powerful, and some of them will even change the way you win the game. So all in all, I mean, Santorini is just a beautiful game to look at, a very easy game to teach, and you can make it harder if you want to. And that's what I think is really awesome. You can start it with just get to the top 3rd level first, whoever does that wins, and you can play that forever. You can do that, and it's a ton of fun. But if you want to, every now and then, you can sprinkle in the god powers, you can sprinkle in the hero powers, and have that, extra, oomph where the game changes. Now I need to consider something new. Or how does this power compete against the other power, and make sure that I don't get in a situation where it's not going to work. And it does even tell you in the rules, these 2 powers may not balance against each other, so it's easy enough to recognize that and then to switch it out with something else. So that's Santorini. I really enjoy. This is published by Roxley Games and Spin Master. Again, this is like the 2nd edition, basically. The 1st edition was a little bit different, but not by much. And I do also have the Golden Fleece expansion. Nowadays, it comes in a big, nice box. When I got it, it was just like a tiny little piece that didn't even have the rules with it, because the original game, first printing, had those rules built in. The Spin Master one does not. So one minor complaint I will mention for them, I did not like that. Had to find those rules online, and I'm not going to buy the new expansion just to get them. So not a big deal, but shame on you guys. So there you go. That is the 40 through 31 of my top 40 games of all time. Like I said, I'm going to do 4 total videos. The next one will be 30 through 21, followed by 20 through 11, and finally, of course, 10 through 1. So if you want to share your top 40 through 31, if you've got a top 40 list, be sure to do so in the comments below. If you like the content, be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and then also hit that bell notification so you'll know when the next top 40 installment is published. And so I've been Ethan, again, the Games Adjuster, hoping you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.